This week's episode, as we continue, this is the second to last in the season, is on reusable sponges.
No, wait, this one isn't. It's not second to last.
I thought we were doing 8. Are we doing 10?
I think we're doing 12.
Shoot, girl. Okay.
Shoot.
We're halfway through then.
Yeah.
We've passed the halfway mark is what we're
Yeah,
doing.
yeah.
This,
We're
okay.
getting there.
I'm going to edit that out or just keep it because
Just keep it. Who cares?
hashtag math. Hello, Tiffany.
Hello, Catherine.
I do love that we have full names with 3 syllables each.
Yeah, that is funny.
Yeah.
Your name shows up as Catherine Cox.
Catherine Cox. Very, very British royalty. Well, I'm so glad you could join me this evening. I want to let you know that I did. So I have a closet in my office and I was like, oh, I'm going to set it up for the podcast tonight. And I went in there and I put my chair in there and I moved stuff around. I got my lamp going and my plugs. And then I couldn't hook the microphone properly to the table that I have in there because it's a cheap little side table. So I had to abort and go back to my regular office. Abort mission. But it's gonna be a nook in there, and I will post pictures of it once I have the nook.
That's awesome. I love it. I saw something about it on Instagram and I was like, oh, she's making moves.
Nook.
Literally.
Nook time. Yep.
Yeah, I have a closet I could use, but it's right next to Charlie's bedroom, so I think she would be very angry with me.
Yeah, that's just you cackling.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
That's so if anybody ever asks, it's why I don't generally listen to podcasts of young men, and this is people are gonna be like, you're a sexist, blah blah blah. But it's the cackling male comedians do for some reason when they're all laughing at their own jokes, and it just
Drives you crazy.
keeps me awake at night. Yeah, I can't handle the boy cackles.
That's so funny. Girl cackles, on the other hand.
Girl cackles fine. Boy
Any
cackles
day.
can't do it.
Gotcha.
Something very non-soothing about it.
So funny. I never noticed that before, but now I probably will.
Now we're gonna notice
Always.
when we cackle. We're like, that was cackling. Just don't cackle like a boy. Okay,
Right.
but I guess we should say this is Greening Up My Act.
Yeah, welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome to our podcast.
It's not about humor or comedy or men cackling at all.
No.
No.
But we do try to have some fun.
We do try to have fun. We do, and we try to make your lives better.
Totally. Because we look at products that claim to be green or sustainable, and we figure out whether or not it's true.
Because we are 2 marketing writers who have done our fair share of finding the words you can say even when they don't mean anything. Probably.
Yeah, totally.
Yep.
Oh my God, it's so true. It hurts.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like trying to skate around really saying anything by saying nothing. Yeah, totally. Yep.
So in this case, we call that green hooey.
100%. Yeah.
And we have a list of green hooey words that we know mean nothing.
Yeah, like why can't I think of any right now?
Natural,
Eco-friendly.
biodegradable, eco-friendly. Yeah, green.
Yep. Even sustainable. That doesn't mean anything.
There unless it's certified by certain groups, it's just green hooey.
Yep. Totally.
Well, if you're ready, I will delve into tonight's topic.
I'm ready.
Okay.
Why do I feel... Oh, I do want to mention, because we 100% keep forgetting to say this, which is fine. We're learning. But we have seasons.
Oh, yeah. This is season 1. We do have seasons.
Yeah. We do. We have seasons. And I was considering editing something into like the first episode mentioning it, but I think I'm tired and I don't want to. So we're just going to fill people in as we go and as we remember.
Yeah. And then we can hype season 2 and people will be like, oh yeah, seasons.
Yeah, seasons. Yeah, because we're trying to start this off and make it a sustainable podcast, sustainability podcast. And we're going to start with seasons and hopefully transition into full year round. But we're going to take some time, like maybe a month or month-ish in between each season. But this whole first season is about cleaning.
Household cleaning specifically, not corporate cleaning, which would be a wow. I'm so glad we didn't take that on first season.
That sounds horrible.
Yeah, these are about individual choices that you can make in your household to avoid products that could cause ecological damage, whether in their production or their usage throughout your house, as well as damage to your person or that of people in your house through, I hate to say toxins because that is another green hooey word, but literally things that could cause cancer, reproductive issues,
Mm-hmm.
breathing disorders. There are many products out there that can cause damage to human DNA or just, in general, carcinogens, etc., that are allowed to be on the market. So we're trying to
Yep.
minimize that effect inside your household and outside of your household. Also, whether or not they can be reused, which is our number one ideal, is to use less, reuse, and then
Yes.
recycle.
Yep. Yeah, and also a lot of the idea of like toxins and chemicals and all this stuff is like overblown.
Yeah.
Not a lot, I would say, but some of it is.
Misunderstood, maybe.
Yeah.
Because it is true there are, but it's not like I'm gonna get people are gonna throw eggs at my house for this, but your non-organic apples are not probably toxic the way that
Right.
certain cleaners are.
Right.
Like lead paint, toxic. Generically grown
But it's also like
apples.
eating lead paint chips.
Yes, way more
Toxic.
toxic. Yeah,
Having it
breathing
in your
lead paint.
walls,
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
probably fine.
yeah.
A lot of people do. I do, I'm sure.
As do I, as we have mentioned, our ancient
Right.
houses that we are
Right.
frantically painting over.
Yeah, so we're trying to find the balance between like being terrified of everything and
Getting to the heart of what truly matters.
yeah, exactly.
Or just
So,
living with stuff that will actually kill you,
right.
which is like very Victorian England, you know? Like, oh yeah, of course she did better when she went to the beach. Her house was full of lead and carbon monoxide.
Right.
Good. Have a
Exactly.
weekend by the sea, lady. You'll be breathing again in no time.
Yes.
So, yeah, we're trying to make it so that we don't need a weekend in Bath to recover from our
Yeah.
Jane Austen and later era diseases. So, all that to say, we are talking about reusable sponges.
We are, and I'm excited to hear all about them because
Okay,
I
good.
don't know much.
Okay, I did the research. So,
Yay.
and just as a reminder, if you haven't heard episode 2, which is after the intro episode this season, was about unpaper towels. Well, guess what? There are unsponged reusable sponges. It's I mean, that's marketing hooey right there, green hooey to like X whatever it is,
Totally.
paper.
Totally.
Yeah, just because it's reusable doesn't mean it's I mean, I get it is those quote unquote paper towels are clearly not paper towels, but these are sponges. Sorry, buzzkill, but these are sponges.
Right.
Okay, but first, our sources. I got a few sources on the eco-friendliness of sponges and their alternatives. I got a lot from greenhive.io, as well as the Impactful Ninja, which was really interesting. He especially linked to the Australian Marine Conservation Society
Okay.
on sea sponges. And then I got some info on hemp from the Council of Fashion Designers of America and Common Objective. And then a really great article that we want to link to, New York Magazine. The Strategist had a whole thing to eco-friendly sponge alternatives, which I really liked.
Ooh, nice.
And I mentioned that they have just, a list of really good ones. And then they did a lot of research on talking to actual, renowned housekeeping bloggers and sustainability bloggers who really know what they're talking about. And then a turn that this took was how disgusting your kitchen sponge is that's coming up.
Mm.
But I had some from NPR. There was a study in nature.com about the sponges that the NPR article said a lot of people took out of context, but I also looked at CNN.
Wait, there was a nature.com article about sponges?
Yeah, about how gross they are. And
Oh.
the NPR article deep dives into into how sometimes the media just reported very lightly on what that study said instead of
Oh,
going
okay.
really into the methods
Oh,
and
nice. Okay.
so the NPR article kind of relieves a little bit of the you gross don't use sponges aspect of that study.
Hmm.
And then time.com had Time magazine had a
Right.
bit about the grossness of sponges and how to wash them. And how to wash dishes. And then finally, the last part of this that you're going to hear is about dishwashers. And I got that from brightly.eco, the blog about dishwashing versus hand washing, which not to give it away, but you're going to get schooled on that. Okay.
Oh, so I might know a little bit. I might have an idea about that because I took AP Environmental Science in high
It's
school.
possible. It's quite possible. You know more than I do, in fact.
It's been 150 years, so.
Gosh, we went to
I'm
school a long
old.
time ago, didn't we? Okay, so Tiffany, why are kitchen sponges bad?
Um.
Oh, I'm just
Well,
gonna.
no.
Yeah, you can guess. I'm just gonna tell you, but you can
No,
guess.
I want to guess though.
Okay, guess.
I think because you throw them away all the time.
That's a very good first guess. But the real reason that they're gross, well, that they're bad, is because they're disgusting.
Fair.
So, in that NPR article I was quoting from, they said, the study folks said, we found 362 different species of bacteria on sponges. And locally, the density of bacteria reached up to 45 billion per square centimeter. That was Marcus Egert, a microbiologist at Furtwangen University in Germany, who led the study.
That was very good pronunciation, by the way.
Thank you. I pretended to study. My twin sister studied German, so I studied German.
Amazing. You just texted her, hey, how do I pronounce this?
Yes. Just don't get the really hard name. But so NPR said the way you can compare this is there can be spots on your kitchen sponge with just as high concentrations of bacteria as in a toilet.
Yummy.
Yeah. You can sanitize sponges. Now, this was where the study got kind of funky. So the study said there are 2 species of bacteria that showed significantly greater proportions in regularly sanitized sponges compared to unclean sponges, thereby questioning such sanitation methods in a long-term perspective. So that was what most of the media sources that weren't NPR ran with, even though like the New York Times did a whole piece about we got to get rid of your dirty sponges. But NPR dug a little deeper because their reporter was a biologist. And they said the study wasn't really that thorough regarding what sanitizing sponges meant. They really only had 5, it was a self-reported study, and they really only had 5 people who regularly clean their sponges, and they didn't say how they did it.
Oh.
If you must use sponges, a few rules. Keep them away from raw meat. Like if you're wiping your counters down, don't use your sponge to wipe up raw meat.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yep. You can sanitize them by wetting them and putting them in the microwave for a minute, which actually gets rid of quite a lot of the bacteria, according to the NPR article, especially the bacteria that will make you sick. So it's actually a good way to sanitize. It just those 2 bacteria that showed up in regularly sanitized sponges aren't the ones that will totally kill you, right?
Okay. So this is just for 1 minute and it's sanitized?
Yeah, 1 minute. Yep. Make sure it doesn't have metal on it.
Well,
Don't put your metal scrubber in the dishwasher.
yeah, like your
Or I mean in
stool.
the microwave. Yeah. You can also use bleach, as we know that you have used green bleach on your sponges.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, and it did what to them?
It bleached them.
It bleached them. They're now a different color. But that's kind of what you expect with bleach. And they said to use like a solution of 99% water, 1% bleach, kind of just a diluted.
Although the green bleach, it's unclear whether or not it actually sanitizes. So.
Yeah. But yeah, go listen to our last episode 6, about green bleach and sun bleaching. I think maybe you could just throw them out in the yard.
Yeah, you probably could in the
with
yard.
some lemon,
Just in the grass.
Just in the grass. Let the ants do their job. And some places recommended also that you should run them through a dishwasher on high heat. That's another way to sanitize them and get them.
I've heard
clean.
that before, and I actually do that with my current sponge. But
yeah,
I'm curious to hear about the good alternatives because I found one that I love. But
good.
Who knows if it's good or not?
Well, and the last thing they recommended, and this is where we get into trouble, is throw away your sponges every 2 weeks.
Okay.
And that is where we say bad news bears, right? They, again, like you were saying, the worst thing about sponges is how often we just throw them away. And because they're disgusting, most hygienic doctors and biologists would say, yeah, throw them away. We don't like to do that, right? Because we want to reuse things and not contribute to landfill waste.
Yes.
So the other issue that's wrong with most of the sponges that you can get, like your Scott Wright sponges, is that those green and yellow sponges you buy at the store, they're made of plastic, nylon, polyester, or polyurethane. And none of these break down in landfills.
Right.
So, and also when you're washing up and they start to get raw and, gritty, You know, when you when you're hand washing the cheese grater and you grate your sponge,
Yeah.
it ends up that sponge part that you're washing down the sink turns into a microplastic, which easily gets into our
Mm.
waterways. And again, turtles ingest it, and then we all get really unhappy. These sponges aren't recyclable, compostable, or biodegradable, even though we know that biodegradable is a green hooey concept.
Yes.
So you don't want just the sponge, the 3-pack of sponges that you get that you just throw away every 2 weeks. Not a good choice. So what are the other options? Now, most of these I got from Impactful Ninja.
Okay. I love
The
that
first,
name.
yeah, and across the board, the places that I looked recommended sea sponges.
Wow. Okay. I'm shocked.
Okay, I have a feeling I know why you're shocked, but why are you shocked?
Because I would think if we all use a sea sponge, there are not going to be enough sea sponges in the world.
Okay, yes, that is the cons. They're technically an animal, so they're not vegan.
Right.
And there is some concern that they could be over harvested. Now, there are certifiably sustainably harvested sea sponges.
Okay. So the like sea sponge farms.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so
And
interesting.
the Australian Marine Conservation Society that was linked in this article says that sewage, scallop dredging, and other human interference are way more of a threat than over harvesting.
Okay.
So they are regrowable. The other pros to them is that they are natural, quote unquote. I know that's green hooey, but they're not. If they're not plastic, they're not processed. They're not
Right.
plastic. They're not dyed.
Yeah, they're not giving off microplastics.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah, and
Can
they're
I?
biodegradable.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Do you have one by chance?
I've used them in the past.
Okay, because I never had until I heard somebody say, "Oh, they're really good for kids, like for
Yes,
babies."
exactly,
I
because
got
they're
one for
soft.
Charlie, and am obsessed with it. It has
Yes.
not. We've had it for 2 years now. It does not smell.
Yep.
It's so soft, and it
Yep.
works so damn well.
Yeah.
I want to get some for my own, but I actually thought that I was like, I don't think it can't be good because
Yep.
they're probably being okay. Wow,
No,
this is
they're
great.
better. I actually have one that I used to use on my face just as an exfoliator. And it was
Mm-hmm.
great. It just hung in the shower and it dried, and it turned into a rock when it dried. But then it,
Yes.
got soft again in the shower, and it was great. And they're durable, they're soft, like you were saying, hypoallergenic, and as long as they're not dyed or bleached, again, they're non-toxic. And you can
Wow.
throw them in the compost bin when you're done with them.
Oh my goodness.
So,
I am so happy to hear this. This is
yes.
so exciting.
So another option that's similar to sea sponges but vegan is a loofah. So did you
Okay.
know loofahs are plants?
No.
Okay.
What?
I know everyone's like, "Oh, they're like sea coral." No. They're
Well,
gourds.
I'm thinking of the plastic
Oh, no,
loofah.
not plastic loofah.
Obviously, that's an
No.
I now know what you mean.
Yes, they're named after that. Those little plastic ones that you can buy in the store that,
Mm-hmm.
men have gray and black loofahs for men. So these loofahs, actually, I didn't realize I think they're of Asian origin, I think China. They're gourds, they're like cucumbers. And I had a
Whoa.
roommate, they grow on a vine. I had a roommate who grew some one summer.
What?
You can grow your own loofahs.
What?
Yes. And they just
Can you
dry
just
out.
go to Home Depot and get some
I
seeds?
think he ordered them online, but he
I'd
grew
say
them in Albuquerque, New Mexico, which is not known for its water production. So,
right. Wow.
yeah. They're, again, biodegradable. You can just throw them in the compost when you're done with them. They're very durable. Again, hypoallergenic, non toxic. You can grow them at home. The con with a loofah is that they're very harsh. They're not particularly absorbent either, unlike sea sponges. And even when they're wet, they can be really scrubby. So they might be
Right.
better to kind of scrub, your hard pans and things.
Okay. Okay. So interesting. Yeah, actually, because a sea sponge would probably be too soft for a lot of
Yeah.
scrubbing. But I also have this like scraper that I
Yeah.
use. So
Yeah. That's an option too.
so
And I will say,
interesting.
that's, well, and we'll get back to this, and we're going to do a whole season on personal products, but people use sea sponges as tampons. They're absorbent.
What?
Yep.
That
Mm-hmm.
just blew my mind.
You're
Okay.
welcome. So those are like the most natural sponges that you can go for. Just plain picked off the vine, picked off the seafloor sponges. Next up, and we encountered this with unpaper towels, we have bamboo. So we went over this before.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like they just take the bamboo and make a sponge out of it. They convert it into synthetic nylon or rayon. And that process is pretty bad for the environment
Mm-hmm.
and bad for the people who are making it. and then possibly bad for your home. Again, when you wash those rayons and nylons, they give off microplastics. So bamboo sponges, I consider those to be green hooey. I would say those are
Okay.
not a sustainable option.
Yeah, because there's no way to turn bamboo into fabric that's
Mhm.
not like harmful or
Mhm.
releases chemicals that are bad for the streams and stuff, right? Like there's
Right.
no, or is
As
there?
far as I know, no.
I'm curious. Yeah,
Yeah.
I hadn't heard of it, but I don't know. Maybe there
Yeah,
is some way.
and people may argue that because it takes less water to grow the bamboo, that's less harmful than cotton.
Yeah,
But at the
but
same time,
I remember while I was researching the paper towels, I learned that the bamboo industry is unregulated, so it's kind of
a whole wild
crap,
west of green
crapshoot.
hooey.
Yes.
Yep. Well, and that leads me to the next recommendation that they had, which are hemp sponges.
Okay. Are these in order of good, or is it just like
I think hemp and
options?
bamboo may be similar
Okay. I just
in
wasn't sure
terms
if like
of.
sea sponge was number one.
I think if you're not vegan,
Okay.
I would say sea sponge just because of its softness. It's
Yeah.
the most. I mean, it's what all other sponges are named for and
Right.
modeled after. It's the OG sponge. So yes.
Gotcha.
So then hemp again is another. It's the plant of the cannabis plant. Not it doesn't get you high.
Right. Won't have a really good time doing dishes, although that would
Yeah,
be
just like
nice.
woohoo. It uses a lot less water than other fibers and makes a lot more fiber from the plant, more than cotton, more than flax that
Oh,
produces linen.
cool.
So that was the one from the CFDA that I was reading about. When you look at environmental ratings, so the Made by Environmental Benchmark for Fibers is a rating system that they have, and they gave organic hemp an A rating because untreated hemp, which is usually organic, breaks down and it doesn't use pesticides, etc. It breaks down more easily and doesn't have any harmful dyes or chemicals in it.
Uh-huh.
But the issue is with processing hemp. Again, similar to bamboo, they use a process called retting, retting. That's where
Okay.
you soak the plant to separate the fibers, and it can have bad ecological impacts. So there's like three types of retting. Water retting, you force water into it, and that uses a lot of water and energy. Chemical retting can cause damage to waterways through improper disposal of the chemicals.
Okay. Which usually happens, we found.
Yes,
Yeah.
inevitably. And then there's a process called dew retting, which is basically using water that's already there. So you're not like forcing water in. You could use a pond or something, but it takes a lot more time, and that would make the product kind of unsustainably expensive.
Okay. I
So
see.
hemp has this, and then there's also processes to make hemp softer, colorful, wrinkle resistant, and
Mm.
those take a lot of harmful
That's
chemicals.
really interesting because I feel like hemp is such a hippy dippy
Oh, it is.
fabric.
Well, it is because
So is
it's, again,
bamboo.
doesn't need many pesticides, doesn't need much water. It's a weed, right? Weed
Yeah.
is literally called weed because it just grows on the side of the road.
Right.
Again, hemp, though, because of its relationship to cannabis, is really highly regulated
Oh,
and
okay.
kind of there's a lot of regulation kind of keeping it from being used in certain states and certain areas. So that also makes it hard to get to. And the last thing about it is that it's really labor intensive. So similar
Mm-hmm.
to like there's a lot of hand picking that needs to be done, and that can set you up into bad processes that are harmful for workers
Right.
and like a lot of exploitation, which I don't think is something we've talked a lot about in terms of sustainability. We've talked
No.
about how the chemicals can harm workers, but unfair labor practices are also a huge part of sustainability.
Yeah, totally.
So hemp can you need to look for fair trade certified organic hemp, basically, which might blow your bank account out of the water.
Right. That's the thing that's so hard about all of this. It's
Yeah.
like everybody, well, not everybody, I guess. Some people don't care, but people who do care want to make the right choices, but then
Yeah.
they're like, "Holy
There's
shit."
there's this whole matrix of things you have to consider.
Yeah, it's so hard.
Yeah. So, I mean, it might be worth it to spend the extra money on certified organic fair trade hemp sponges, although I think sea sponges are probably a better option.
Yeah, I was going to say if a sea sponge is at least one that comes from somewhere that's sustainably harvested,
Yeah.
then I kind of feel like just go that route. But
Yeah. Well, now there's a couple more routes that I'm going to take you down because they're
okay.
dishwashing. I'm mostly thinking of sponges for dishwashing.
Yeah.
Then we get into eco-friendly cloths. there's a product called a Swedish dishcloth, which is
Oh,
made from
yeah,
wood
I talked
pulp.
about that. Yeah.
Yep. It's not made of plastic. It's compostable at the end of its life. It dries fast, so you don't get bacteria on it the way that your sponges are. And if you're thinking about doing this route, instead of buying new ones, just use your unpaper towels or your reusable rags you're already using to wash your dishes and throw them in the washing machine.
Right.
That way you reduce use. You're using multiple, one product for multiple reasons, and you don't get it gross like a sponge by your sink.
Yes.
So that's a possibility. So once again, we want to reiterate, with natural sponges, if you're just throwing them in the trash with all your other garbage, it doesn't matter if they're biodegradable or compostable, and you just throw them in the trash, it's going to end up in a landfill.
And it most likely won't break down for 100 years.
Right. And it's
If
going to be surrounded
ever.
by plastic.
Yeah.
And also, do you know what leachate is?
Leach aid?
Leachate. Leachate. I should make sure. This is from
No.
my 9th grade science class. And I just realized it right now. I don't have it in my notes here, but I was just thinking about it. It's water that has percolated through a solid and leached out some of the constituents. So if you throw anything wet into the garbage, it becomes leachate in the landfill. And what that means is it's just liquid. Like when you dump your coffee at Starbucks, when you dump the extra coffee out to add cream into the garbage, you're making leachate. When you throw a wet sponge or a wet paper towel, or you haven't emptied your cup of, whatever out before you throw it in the trash, you're creating leachate. And what it is this toxic fluid in our
Ew.
landfills that, as things are breaking down, it's just soaking into the groundwater. So don't throw wet stuff in the trash.
Whoa. I
Yes.
literally have never heard of that
Yeah.
before, or would have never. I do think about it, but I don't think about it because of that. I
Right.
more think about it because of the poor guys coming down my street with
Yeah,
trash.
that have to. I mean, it's also gross for anyone who has to deal with your trash, right?
Right.
Liquids in
Oh
the trash are
my
just gross.
goodness.
But it
That's
is
insane. So it doesn't matter if
extremely
it starts
toxic.
as coffee, it's going to get mixed
Yep.
with whatever else is in
Microplastics. I mean, especially if it's hot, it's going to break down, Yeah.
Whoa.
So at the end of your movie at the movie theater, if I have, I don't buy sodas at the movies anymore, but if I did buy a drink of the soda, I will pour out what's left in the sink and then throw it away.
That is so smart.
Also, because I used to work at a movie theater, and there's nothing grosser than taking out
Welfare.
a full bag of soda trash.
God, I think about that at the airport. People have to dump
Yes.
out their entire water bottles or whatever
Yeah.
liquids,
Oh,
and there's just a bag of liquid.
just fluid for some poor
Stocked full.
TSA agent to have to deal
Whoa.
with, janitation staff. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So anyway, be
Damn.
mindful. If you're not going to waste water, that's one way to do it. Make sure that you control your liquids before you throw them in the trash. So anyway,
Wow, that's really helpful.
don't throw a wet sponge in the trash. But again, if you've got natural sponges and you're not composting them, it's just as bad as the plastic ones, right?
Mhm.
So get the compostable ones. Either start a compost in your backyard or use your city compost. It's worth it if you're going to be using these natural sponges. Make sure you do that.
Yeah. And listen to our compostable trash bags episode before
Yes,
you compost.
before you find a compostable
You'll
trash
realize that it's going to take about 30 years.
They're not, because they would dissolve if you threw coffee in them. So they're not. Yeah.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
wild. So, okay, do you have any other options? Because I was
Oh
going to
my
go off
gosh, I
tangent.
do. Yes.
Okay, good. Tell me.
Brushes.
Okay.
This was the big one that they recommended at the NPR. Well, no, at the Time magazine article. Brushes dry more quickly, right? Because there's more surface area, it dries more quickly. They aren't porous, so they don't hold on to bacteria.
Okay.
You can also run them through the dishwasher, right? To clean
Yes,
them.
I do that.
Okay, but the issue is that most of them are plastic or silicone, which have their own problems with production, etc. But you will use them longer than sponges.
Yes. My brushes are
Yeah.
plastic, and I've had them for probably 2 years.
Yeah. Me too. I use, and they get down to the bottoms of things, and they're better at scrubbing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
They must make ones that aren't plastic, but
Well, yeah, I'm about to go into that.
oh my goodness, you read my
You can
mind.
get natural dish scrubbers made of wood and fibers, like Tampico, which is a cactus from Mexico. There's a shop called earthling.co or Earthling Company. They have $8 ones. And again, it's
Oh, that's
wood
not
and
bad.
Tampico. You have to hand wash it and let it air dry, but it's still going to be less dirty than a sponge, and it's compostable when you're done with it.
Oh, that's awesome. And $8 is about what you would pay for a regular one.
Yeah, exactly. So it's
So cool.
comparable.
That's awesome.
But I also use a plastic brush, and mine actually has an interchangeable head because it
Oh.
dispenses the soap into the head, so I use less
Mine
soap.
also might, but yeah.
Yeah, which is
Hmm.
nice. And it's not a sponge, it's a brush, so it's less dirty. I also don't hand wash because here's the best bet on sponges for dish cleaning: use your dishwasher. This is the most eco-friendly option.
So hand washing versus dishwasher.
Yep,
Use a
dishwasher better.
dishwasher.
Use the dishwasher.
That's what I found out. Yes, that's what my
Yes.
environmental science class taught me,
Yes, exactly. So
which
as
is
long as you
shocking.
have a full load of dishes, a dishwasher is more water efficient than hand washing. And I read on one Australian website that an old dishwasher will use 10 to 15 gallons per load, which is a lot. But the Energy Star rated new dishwashers use 3.5 gallons per load.
Oh, wow.
So if you've got 30 dishes in there, that's really good. The hand washing is 1.5 to 2 gallons a minute.
Is that if you just let it run?
Yeah, I think it's even if you fill it up,
Really?
wash them, and then because you got to rinse them all, you know?
Right.
So, I mean, you
Yeah.
can make it somewhat more efficient, but if you don't mind washing in previously dirty water and then rinsing in what would be dirty water, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So, also, if you use cold water, it's a little bit obviously more efficient because most of the energy used in a dishwasher is heating the water up.
Yeah.
But again, hot water is what helps sanitize, and not
Right.
perfectly. It doesn't kill all germs or all, like, hot water is just better at removing bacteria. Well, here's another thing I learned well, about soaps, and that we should go into this in an episode about we need to talk about dishwasher detergent, but
Yes.
soap
Oh, yeah.
does not
I
kill
have a whole
bacteria.
plan.
Yes,
Yes. Oh my god, yes. Okay.
because it just lifts it and washes it away, and the soap that does kill bacteria is really bad for the environment. So
Yeah.
FYI.
Yes, my okay, my husband and I have this conversation once in a while because I'm always like, "It's soap. It disinfects." He's like, "No, it doesn't."
No, it
And we have
doesn't.
to look it up, and he's like,
Mhm.
"See, I'm right." I'm like, "Damn it."
My mother taught me that. She was a home economics major in college, and
Awesome.
I was like, "Soap kills germs." She's like, "No, it doesn't. It lifts them and rinses them away, but that's it."
Right. Yeah, okay.
So, a few other tricks to maximizing your dishwasher experience, and this one is counterintuitive as well. Do not pre-rinse.
Okay. Okay. Okay,
So,
okay,
just
okay, okay,
scrape
okay, okay.
stuff off into the compost and put it in the dishwasher, because number one, you're wasting water when you rinse, but number two, with especially more modern dishwashers, they actually need some dirt for the soap to cling to.
Oh.
So most modern dishwashers are really good at rinsing hard enough to get rid of the muck. You'll be fine.
This is weird.
Yeah.
My dishwasher is very old,
Mm-hmm.
and the guy, like, we had a guy come, and he
Mm-hmm.
was like, "Don't bother." I think it's because the newer ones break a lot
Yeah.
because they're just badly made.
Yeah.
But he said, "Don't bother getting a new one because this one's gonna last you like
Oh my
15
gosh,
more
my parents have
years."
had this same washing machine since I was like born.
Right.
And yeah, they're like, as long as you can get the Maytag repairman to come out and fix it, it's gonna last you forever. Yeah, the
Yeah,
new
and it
ones are
like
just,
sucks because it definitely uses more water.
yeah,
But yeah,
planned obsolescence. Yeah, but you won't have to replace it again in 5 years, which is probably better for the environment. Would you rather?
I know. That's what I was thinking.
Because they're not recyclable.
Right.
So the next thing you can do is clean your filters. So I don't know if you knew this. I learned this during the pandemic. There is a filter on the bottom of your dishwasher, like in the back, when you pull that bottom tray out,
Uh
and where
huh.
the spinner is, underneath, there's this round thing. You turn it clockwise or whatever, counterclockwise, pull it out. It's full of gunk. Dump that out, wash it, put it back in. You've cleaned your dishwasher filter. Do that once a month. It'll increase your efficiency by like 100%.
100%.
That's where all the gunk goes when it gets washed.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay. I've looked for mine, and because it's so damn old, I can't find it.
It's probably like you have to have a Maytag repairman certified person come to do it.
Probably.
But yeah, for new dishwashers, it's worth it. I didn't realize that. I was like, oh my God. how sparkly my dishes are.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah. Now, again, make sure the dishwasher has a full load in it. Don't just wash like 2 spoons in a coffee cup. Really, like,
Mm-hmm.
and just learn how to put them in so they don't break, but like stack them in there. Do not like put one little cup using up 4 prongs. Use the
Yeah.
whole thing.
Okay, I'm gonna try with my old one. I'm gonna
Yeah.
try not pre-rinsing and see how it goes, and I'll
Okay.
report back.
Report back. I want pictures.
Yes.
And, find the right soap. We need to do an episode probably on dishwasher soap, but find the right
100%
soap.
because I have tried making my own, and
Ooh,
it's really
mixed
interesting.
results.
Yeah.
Well, save that for an episode.
Mm-hmm.
And the last thing I recommend, again, like you just said, don't do this, but maybe get a new dishwasher.
Right.
If you care about water usage. The
Right.
Energy Star rated ones are better, but again, you have to weigh the cost of throwing it away in 10 years versus,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's hard.
Okay.
Cool.
So back to reusable sponges. The big
Yes.
question, do they work?
Yes.
Yes. As well as regular sponges, depending on what type you get, they may be more aggressive, like loofahs, but there are plant based alternatives, scrubbers, things that work really well. Are they cost effective? Yes. Maybe not for the organic certified fair trade hemp, but since they last longer, you won't be spending as much in the long run either, right? If you're reusing them and then composting them, you're not going to be spending as much every 2 weeks. So, a package of Scotch Brite sponges, the plastic ones with the blue top, you can get
Mm-hmm.
on Amazon for as little as $1 each in a 3 or a 6 pack. The natural scrub and throw loofah, okay, it's called scrub and throw loofah sponges, which I was like, wow, they say throw away in the name. But again, they're compostable. So they're on Amazon for $20 for 30 of them. So that's even less.
$20 for 30 of them. Okay.
Yeah.
Man, that's a lot of sponges.
75 cents a sponge or whatever. Yeah.
Those should last longer, right?
Yeah, I think they're thinner if you look at
Okay.
them. So they're probably multi-use, but you might throw them away as often as
Regular sponges.
but again, they're loofahs, so
Okay.
compostable. Okay, and then that article again from New York Magazine, The Strategist, has a great list of cloths, sponges, and scrubbers for a variety of prices. Yes, they're definitely going to be easier on your wallet than you might think.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So we have dish rags that I'm pretty sure one of Joey's like aunts or great aunts or relatives or grandma, I don't know, like knitted this thing a long
Oh
time
wow.
ago. And it's just cotton and you can
Yeah.
make it on a little loom. They're so easy to make. These two things are my pride and joy.
Yep. Because you can wash them, you can hang them to dry.
Yes, I love them so much, and he refuses to use them because he says that they're dirty.
Well,
He's so funny.
I don't use sponges because they stink, and I
I
don't want my
know. I got so
hands to
used to it.
stink. Yeah, I have not used a sponge in years. It's possible. But okay, so I'm going to get to our rating. Again, we rate on a scale of 1 to 5 granolas because we're hippies and we want the crunchier the better, right? On a scale of 1 to 5, I picked a 4 out of 5, which is crunchy. So they are crunchy. They're not going to break your tooth off, but as long as you watch out for those bamboo and hemp ones claiming to be eco-friendly that just do more harm in their production, and you actually compost them,
Mm-hmm.
you're better off using.
Which
Yeah,
is hard for a lot of us, but yeah.
it is. Yeah, finding a place to compost them is hard.
Yeah.
And also because you're better off if you care about bacteria. It's better to just use a dishwasher to wash your dishes. So that knocked it down a notch as well. But you can also just replace them entirely with on paper towels in the dishwasher and probably be okay. So they're not quite break your tooth off in that
Okay,
sense.
nice. But they're
Yeah.
still pretty good.
Still crunchy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think worth it if you are an old school need a sponge, just scrub that pot down. Or like, I've got some pans that I don't throw in the dishwasher for sure.
Yeah. I'm
Although I
not
did
throwing
learn
my cast iron in there.
Le Creuset is machine washable, FYI.
What?
Yes. I
Wow.
know. I have a Dutch oven that's like 10 quarts and I make soup in it and then throw it in the dishwasher.
Wow. Okay, I didn't
Yeah.
know that because I have one of the Dutch ovens that I treated myself to for my birthday. So,
They're great.
but I always just use my
I mean, it
like
feels good to
wash.
hand wash it too.
Yeah. Hmm.
But yeah,
Good to know.
sometimes. So there we go. But yeah, so that's reusable sponges.
Awesome. Well, thank
Yeah.
you so much. That's
Yeah,
so
I hope you learned
exciting.
something. Yeah.
I'm really excited about those results because I am in love with sea sponges. What are they
Yeah,
called? Yeah,
they're
sea
pretty
sponges.
great. We'll have everything linked in our show notes, and make sure you subscribe or follow us to get the most out of the show, so you know how long our 12 episode season is lasting. Not 8, 12.
Yeah. Once we know, you'll know.
Yeah, yeah, we'll let you know.
Yeah.
And so, what do we have for next week?
Yeah. So next week, I'm going to be talking about washable rugs.
Ooh. I'm excited about this one.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting, actually. It was like, yeah, it's kind of a little debate in my mind. So I'm just curious to get your take on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Tiffany.
Thank you, Kat. Thank you for the story. Story time.
Yeah, there was a lot in there. So.
Yeah, totally. You did such a good job.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
All right, see you next week.